So, today we're going to tackle a question that is so fundamental, so deep, that some of the greatest minds in history have spent centuries arguing about it. It's a real puzzle about the very fabric of reality itself. And it all starts with something super simple: a color.
Okay, look at this. You see a stop sign, a rose, a fire truck. Now, obviously, these are totally different things, right? But we don't hesitate to call them all red. But just stop and think about that for a second. What is that redness that they all share? Is it a physical thing you can touch? Is it just an idea in our heads? I mean, where is it?
Believe it or not, that simple question is the key that unlocks one of philosophy's oldest and greatest mysteries, what's called the problem of universals. And together, we're about to dive into the absolutely brilliant answers that people have come up with over the years. All right, before we can even try to solve this riddle, we need to get our toolkit ready. That means we need to get super clear on two key terms that are really at the heart of this entire debate. So, on one hand, we have what philosophers call particulars. These are just the individual, concrete things you can actually point to in the world. You know, this specific apple on your desk, that car driving by. Each one exists in only one place at one time. But on the other hand, we have universals. These are the general qualities or properties, things like redness or roundness, that can pop up in tons of different particulars all at the same time. To put it simply, particulars are always one of a kind. There was only one actual person named Socrates. There's only one building that is the Taj Mahal. And there's only one notebook that is your specific notebook. You get the idea, they're all unique. Universals, though, are the complete opposite. They're the shared stuff. Millions of different things can be read. Billions of people all share the quality of humanity. Countless objects can have roundness. So here's the billion-dollar question. Are these universals real? And if they are, where in the world are they? And that question brings us to the main event. Philosophers have come up with some incredible solutions to this problem, and we're going to walk through the 5 biggest and most influential answers right now. First up, the big one, Plato. For him, universals like redness or justice aren't just real. He thought they were actually more real than the physical things we see every day. He called them forms, these perfect, eternal, unchanging blueprints that exist in a higher, non-physical reality completely separate from our own. Plato used this amazing analogy to explain it. He said our physical world is kind of like watching shadows on a cave wall. The particular red apple you see, that's not the real deal. It's just an imperfect, temporary shadow of the one, true, perfect form of redness that exists up in that higher realm. Now, Plato's star student, Aristotle, he had a very different take. He agreed with his teacher that universals were real, but he basically brought them down to earth. For Aristotle, there's no separate, floaty realm of forms. Instead, the universal of redness is actually inside every single red thing. It's a real property that's literally baked into the object itself. This whole idea gets a cool name: in rem realism, which is just Latin for in the thing. So for Aristotle, you don't need to look up to some other world to find a universal. You just need to look closely at the actual red stuff right here in front of you. Okay, let's switch gears to a completely different and kind of radical approach: nominalism. Thinkers like William of Ockham basically said, you guys are all overthinking this. Universals like redness don't exist at all. Not in other world, not in things, nowhere. The word redness is just a name. Nomen is Latin for name. It's just a convenient label we slap onto things that happen to look similar to us. Conceptualism tries to find a bit of a middle ground here. It says, sure, universals exist, but they only exist as concepts inside our minds. So when we see a whole bunch of red things, our mind notices the similarity and creates the mental concept of redness. So it's real, but its reality is purely mental. It's all in your head. And finally, we get to a more modern idea called trope theory. This one is really interesting. It says there are no shared universals at all. Zero. Instead, every red object has its own completely unique individual property of redness. They call it a redness trope. So this apple doesn't actually share redness with that fire truck. Instead, this apple's specific redness just resembles the fire truck's specific redness. Similarity isn't sharing, it's just resemblance. Okay, I know that was a lot, so let's just do a quick recap to see where we've landed. You've got Platonic realism, putting universals in a whole other dimension. You have Aristotelian realism, putting them inside things. Conceptualism says, nope, they're in the mind. Nominalism says they don't exist, they're just names. And trope theory says shared universals don't exist, only unique, similar properties do. Whew.
So right about now, you might be thinking, this is pretty fascinating, but is this just some dusty, ancient philosophical game? And the answer is absolutely not. This 2,000-year-old riddle has massive real-world implications for science, for math, and especially for the technology we're building right now.
I mean, really think about it. Are the laws of physics, like gravity, real universal truths that are out there in the cosmos waiting for us to discover them? That's a realist view. Or are they just our best descriptions so far? That's more of a nominalist view. And when it comes to AI, this isn't abstract at all. It's a very practical problem. How in the world do you program a computer to understand the general, universal concept of chair when all it ever gets to see are thousands of particular, totally different-looking chairs?
So really, it all comes crashing together right here. When we train an AI, when we feed it millions of images of dogs, what are we actually teaching it to do? Are we trying to get it to somehow grasp the perfect universal form of dogness, like Plato would want? Are we teaching it to build a mental concept of dog in its own programming, like a conceptualist? Or are we just teaching it to associate the simple label dog with a certain pattern of pixels, like a nominalist would say? The 2,000-year-old mystery is now a 21st century engineering problem. What do you think the answer is?